Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hello, my friends. I hope you are all well. Let's a moment talk about Satsang. Satsang, connecting with truth. And this doesn't mean simply what we are doing here now. Satsang means also to read anything that helps you to connect with yourself, to be with people together that help you to connect, that are uplifting. And the ultimate meaning of satsang, like the last time, the ultimate meaning of tapas is to abide in the self, to connect with the timelessness of the now. In the Indian tradition, it's very highly valued, satsang, in all its different aspects, but also especially they insist for people who are interested in truth to keep good company. What is meant by good company is just has not necessarily anything to do with the social status, but to rather connect with people that are interested in truth too. That when we meet with people, like-minded people, and we discuss spiritual matters, then something more happens than the sum of the energy that each brings into it. It's like it's attracting a force that is manifesting stronger. Even before I came to India, I used to feel that. When I met people that are like-minded, or even if we have different attitudes, but are interested in truth, then something special happened. I had two friends with whom I met once a week, whenever we were geographically in the nearby. And there was something happening, even for three people, that there is a special force attracted that helps to lift up each one that is there. Each one can contribute, but is benefiting from communicating with like-minded people. That didn't mean we had always the same ideas about all the subjects at all, but there was that basic spirit of getting closer to truth. Adi Shankaracharya, at least it's attributed to him, made a verse in one of his works, that the satsang leads to detachment Detachment leads to clarity. Clarity Satsangatve Nisangatvam Nisangatve Nirmohatvam Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam. Yeah. The detachment leads to quietness. And that quietness leads you to Jivan Mukta. So highly do they value that we keep good company. But why? Because it helps us to connect. What we are doing here is that we come together, even if it's in an online space. Each one brings their energy into it, and somehow something happens that all are getting benefited. Benefited in the sense that it makes it easier to connect with one's own true nature. That it makes it easier to bring the attention to the timelessness of the now. Somebody wrote me when I was in the last Satsang having the timelessness of the now in the title, that now is a point in time. But actually, no. There is not really such a point in time like the now. Wherever you point, it's already past. The now brings you to the sense of presence. And if you connect with that, it's like you are stepping out of the flow of time. And Satsang helps us to make it easier. That's the point of it. It's not so much that somebody knows something and the others don't and have to be told by that somebody. It's more, we come together and it makes it easier to connect. To practice that highest form of satsang, satsang, connecting with truth. That highest form of satsang, that means to be consciously conscious, timelessly now. That's the point why we are meeting every week, now for over 2 years, here online. Sometimes we may talk about particular problems, and that may help to resolve them. But all this is for the purpose that if there are obstacles and we discuss them, and it's getting easier to remove them, for the purpose of making it easier to consciously bring the attention back to the source, here now. That's the point of practice, that's the point of satsang. Here now we are touching reality. Here now we are touching that source of beauty and creativity. Here now is the only moment we are touching truth. All else is in the mind. All else is a memory, an anticipation. Right now it's alive. That is satsang. And I hope that what we are doing is helping to do just that a bit easier. Okay. Then I'm asking you, my friend, is there anybody who is already ready to come in and say something? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello,
Hello,
Dayal.
Werner.
I can see you and hear you.
Me too. A few days I got information that Shiva Shakti left the body.
Yes.
She was Indian lady,
Yes.
was giving satsang in Ramana Nagar in the morning. I know her. Yeah, and it was, her satsang was very helpful to me. She created space, silent space, and very flexible, possible to come early and stay as much as you want.
Yeah.
And many serious meditators joins. Maybe usually 100 people come in. Some people stay more, some people stay less. But for me, it was very, very good meditation. In her presence, much easier I can meditate and always come out happy. So, and I'm very sorry that she left the body. Yes, and I remember that somebody asked you that about her, and you was replying, she's not 100% enlightenment.
I haven't said ever any such thing. I'm not using this kind of language.
But I remember, Werner.
That was your interpretation. Anyhow, what was the question about then?
So, and I agree, Shiva Shakti was not like Ramana or like Amma Ji. So she was not so enlightened, but still she have something, and she was sharing it for many years.
Right.
So, and I just want to ask you, what do you know about her, and what do you think about different level of enlightenment? So can you comment something about it?
I mean, I'm not going to start to make commentaries about teachers here in the Satsang. So, but if you have experienced what you just described now, that you can go and sit there and you felt it was made easier for you to connect, to meditate, then it has fulfilled its purpose. Then that's great. Great. That's all we need to talk about. It's not that that we should now somehow dig into and try to figure out how good, how great, or or whatever somebody is. Now, you ask me levels of enlightenment. In a way, that whole concept has a bit disappeared from my mind already 30 years ago. The whole enlightenment, because it had become such a funny thing, like a cheap commodity on the market. You go to some satsangs that then are declared enlightened and other. Whenever you bring the attention to that timelessness, you're in touch with truth. And at that moment, you're true, you're natural. And then you may have experiences when that is there, special experiences, maybe just a special expanding peacefulness, but maybe other experiences. Then the moment may go again. The experiences are there as a memory. Those experiences help you but then you're maybe back again in your usual reactive way. And there may come a point where you sort of rotating into a new perspective from where it's much easier to just stay connected. And even if you lose it for a few moments, then it's easily, boom, gained back without having to do much effort. It's certainly a great step. It's not the end of the story. From there, one chapter is closed, a new chapter starts. And not more the search like before, but the expansion continues. And then it may happen that a shift may happen again somewhere, from where it's again quite a different perspective. And even there, it's not finished. The awareness is there that the essence doesn't change, and yet there is something still unfolding all the time, and there's no end to it. So certain Mahatmas come already with a great, strong, powerful connection to that reality. And then when they live in this world and they really dedicate their life to be connected, then there is a great power manifested, like then even amongst people who are not deluded, they may stick out like great lights, like Ramana Maharshi was just a very unusual manifestation of that reality. But I wouldn't start to attempt to pronounce levels of enlightenment. Rather accept that there are many people who get a certain state where they are at peace with themselves, not more creating suffering all the time. But from there it continues, and from there can be quite big differences how intensely this is manifesting. And around a being like Ramana, it's just oozing out, it's just radiating, and all those nearby him, they benefit from it. So I think also about the other method that I have said that, I think that was your interpretation, because usually I'm not even using that word enlightenment anymore. Because it has become so corrupted a word that I don't like it anymore. and I urge people, don't forget about enlightenment, learn to become natural. Be naturally at ease, at peace, connect. And then the journey there is very different from one to another. There may be an opening for one, but still a lot of weight may be hanging there. But still there is an opening and a special connection compared to how he felt before. There's no need of putting a particular label on it. Some others, they may just gradually get more and more naturally peaceful. But then suddenly there may be a total shift, and it stays effortlessly. And from there, from the new perspective, a quite new story starts. And then it continues, and there is no end to it. essentially remaining the same, the experience can unfold and unfold, and there is no end to it. There's not really the need of putting anywhere the label enlightenment, or then make different categories of enlightenment. Actually, in the scriptures, there are certain levels of enlightenment described, but I have always the feeling those teachers, they wrote it because the people were curious and wanted to have some answers so that they feel somehow at peace by having the idea of getting some understanding of what's going on. Now with teachers, what to do? Are they enlightened? Are they not enlightened? How enlightened are they? What counts is if you approach a teacher and you basically feel at ease, at peace, then you are for that time at the right place. Those teachers may have their own story still to work out, but they still may have a connection that is very strong, that helps others that come close to make it easier to connect. People, teachers, how great they are, that's usually how great people see them. If you see somebody as being very great, then that being is great, at least for you. Maybe it's not true for somebody else, and that's basically enough. On the other hand, also, we don't have to be worried when others come and say, oh, over there is somebody, it's so fantastic, so great experience there, but you feel, even without going there, somehow it doesn't attract you, then we need not think we miss something if we don't go there, then it's just not the place for us to go there. It's not the time and the place to sit there and connect there. And actually, that is the one thing that is more important than trying to figure out levels and on what kind of levels they are. So when you feel...
Sorry, Werner, somebody writing message that the sound is not very clear. For me too, sometimes it breaks. I can understand you, but sound is not perfect right now.
I see. Maybe I have to come closer. There is
it.
also wind, but I think I hope I have the good microphone. Let me check. Yeah, it's the microphone as usual. Is it better when I'm closer?
Now it's okay, but just sometimes sound breaking, not always, just once in a few seconds it's happened. But maybe
it may also be with the connection, because recently we have often not so good internet connections, but I try to talk clear and loud and come close to the microphone. On top of that, it's windy, so sometimes that also disturbs with the sound. Is it still breaking up in between?
a little bit, yeah, but maybe on the recording it will be perfect.
So you know what? I'm going quick out and I come back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hello, Kyle, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Is it
Yes.
better than before?
Looks like better, but it will be
Will show.
need some more talking. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you will talk, I will tell you if will be some problems. If no
Yeah.
problem, I will not
Yeah.
tell you anything. Continue.
Okay, but the summary of what I said just before this came is really that is what is important. If you feel with somebody, with a teacher, a real connection, and you feel basically at ease and at peace, then you are in the right place, at least for that time. And then that's enough. Enough. We don't have to wonder about levels of enlightenment. Some people make all kinds of levels, but I'm just feeling shy of going anywhere near that to make these drawers. I've mentioned that before. I had a line of teachers on my path. Before I met Amma, I projected always a lot of stuff into them. And because of that innocence of the belief of their greatness, they were great. And at the right time, I got the right thing from that. Eventually, I may have come to the conclusion, okay, in a way they are great, but in a way they may have to work their own stuff out. And somehow it was natural to proceed. But at the right time, I got from them what I was ready to get. So if our heart is innocent, if our heart is open, and we follow that inner feeling, whether we are attracted to somebody, to some teacher or not, then actually we find our way, and we need not somehow fill our head with more concepts about different stages of enlightenment, and this one is on this stage and that one is on that stage.
Okay, Werner, thank you. Sound is much better right now.
Okay, good. It's good that you said it. So somebody mentioned it, huh?
Yeah, somebody make the message.
Yeah. Shall we leave it at that?
Yes, thank you, Werner. Thank you. Hari Om.
Okay, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Werner.
Hari Om. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Could you hear me well all the time?
No, it breaks down, but I can follow, no problem.
And now
I feel my feeling is that it's internet connection, because sometimes those bars indicating the connection go yellow. Goes from red to yellow.
Yeah. Well, there I cannot do anything about it.
It's fine. Personally, I can follow.
Okay. All right, let's leave the technical stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the introduction about Satsang and truth. The sentence from the Bible that comes to me is the truth will make you free. That is a tribute to Jesus. And my question is about, it's connected obviously, it's about truth. Is the issue of fear of not having at the material level I was playing a game with a friend a few days ago about where would we like to see ourselves in 5 years' time. And it was lovely because she's much younger than me, and he's got a lot of enthusiasm for some of these things. And I said, okay, let's play it. And I realized that one of the things that I long for is to experience the certainty that that God takes care of all my needs.
Yeah.
At the material level specifically. I mean, there are other things, but it's like, this is a recurrent fear that comes up when, in spite of I've had a privileged life compared to millions of humans.
Yes.
I've never ever lack of any fundamentals, and I've had even more, much more than that. But it always depends, obviously, with whom you compare yourself and all those kind of things. So there is always, I mean, you can always compare up and down.
Yeah, right.
And I feel I've made a lot of progress, but I feel it's one of these things in my life. For me, other people have other issues. This seems to be a fear that spoils the joy quite often. And I had an experience a few days ago in a meditation when I felt clearly the guidance to do a healing sessions. I even know with whom, and I know the cost of that. And, you know, if I didn't have this fear, I would straight away have called this person and say, let's do this session. I know it's for my own good. But the fear of the paying what I feel I need to pay for that stopped me.
Yeah.
And then I became very aware that it was just that stopping me. And this morning in the early morning meditation, I was praying to release that. And when I was meditating, I had the feeling that I was shown the seeds of that belief. The belief that it's hard, it's a struggle, it may be there, it may not be there. And right now is like what I can put into words is that I know deep down the truth. The truth is that God takes care of our needs. God has taken care of my needs, which don't always match what I want.
Right, not necessarily.
So what I love you to comment or is on this, you know, I know God is the source. I am the source. God is within. And that's the source of absolutely everything. And if he's a loving God, he will take care of everything.
Right. Certainly, if you can shift from being afraid what could happen in the future, being afraid that everything is taken away, shift to that innocent confidence that you are being protected, that you are being taken care of, that will make life much, much more relaxed. And it's not that we should not be reasonable about our things. We can very well, with common sense, deal with on the material level. And if we see that there a difficulty is coming, we may prepare, we may or we may not. But not be in fear all the time, what would happen if that does not come? Certainly, God will take care of us. Sometimes it may also be God's will that we have to go through periods where things are not easy and not where we cannot get everything so easily. They may teach us good lessons, but if that innocent belief is there, then we really opening up that it is really happening. So when the fear comes, then you remember the other aspect that you start to experience. Hey, I can just shift my attention from that side to that side, and then the problem is solved. But if we buy into the fear and start to think and build on scenarios of what could happen, and then it can become unbearable. People can torture themselves unbearably, being afraid what happens in the future. And especially now, everything seems to be so totally crazy and uncertain, and so many people are afraid of the future. But that fear is only contributing that things can go bad. That fear is only helping to invite disasters to happen or to get worse. And if people learn to shift, we cannot artificially do that. We cannot just one day decide, okay, from now on, I'm not more afraid, I'm just having confidence. It doesn't go like that. But we can invite it, we can open up to that. We can see, okay, there comes the fear again, and then step out of it and watch it. And see that there is something that is not afraid, something that is connected and is always connected and has no reason to be afraid, because nothing can happen to that real aspect of ourselves. And we can consciously shift the attention in that direction. And this is the invitation that that confidence can blossom and get stronger and stronger. And the stronger that confidence is, the less you worry about any damn thing that happens in this life. Then, okay, sometimes they come along smoothly, harmoniously, sometimes there is opposition, there are problems, we have to face them, we have to deal with them, they come, we deal with them, they go. And of course, when we are living in quite comparative, as you said, you can always compare one side or the other, but when we are living in a quite luxuries compared to how other people living, then it may also happen that sometimes that luxury is not available to the same degree, simply to find out that doesn't make us less happy, except if we fix the attention on it and think, oh, it's not possible to do this and to have that and to do so many things. But if we learn to turn the attention back to the self, then the external circumstances don't make so much. And even if it's very simple and austere for some time, that happiness is still there, and then it doesn't matter, and we need not be afraid of it. And then most of the time that passes also, and things are developing all by themselves again. So we can detach from the fear. But first we have to be aware that fear is there, really. And when that awareness is there, then instead of feeding it and thinking, what can I do? What security measures can I take? But okay, let me see the fear. Let it be there, but let me see it. Let it see what it is doing to my experience right now, and relax and shift the attention to that aspect in ourselves that is not afraid, because nothing can harm it. And the more we are even attempting to shift the attention in that direction, the more that natural, helpful trust, that confidence comes, that after all, we are taken care of. We need not worry. And in the meantime, we can have common sense with material stuff if we see that easily, we can maybe arrange something that even if the times turn, maybe I'm a bit better off with now. I'm already preparing myself, nothing wrong, but not worry about, not be afraid of it, but just deal with it as it comes and be reasonable about practical things.
Thank you. I can feel the release already.
Very good.
Some release inside. It's like the confidence I feel comes through you as well. Yeah.
Very good. Nice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ariom.
Ariom. Ariom. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome to come.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Leora.
So, about fear and surrender and the humbleness, somehow it all goes together for me. As I have been feeling fear in my body, well, it's the sensations, the physical sensations, but actually I wasn't really afraid of anything. So I remember talking to you about it a while ago, and you mentioned the existential fear.
Yes.
Which can just be there. But yeah, so it's there now. It's now everything, since I was sick, everything is like, this COVID was like a wake-up call for me. I'm a little bit better from last week, but still my body is tensed. Now what I feel after you spoke with Maria is that actually I reached a point when there is no choice for me, because I mean, it's either I let myself be directed by all the fears that our mind makes up, which I know how it is to live like that. Now they don't come. I sold my apartment. I did what I had to do with the money, and I just, I can just let go because I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. And so this like having no choice brings with it also this sense of surrender and humbleness, also because I feel that as you mentioned it also, so much practice which I've done, I understood, I could speak about it, I felt it, but recently something happened and it became like with no walls between what I call me, my personality, my divine being. There are no walls. I felt yesterday I have to also agree just to agree. I mean, not only to understand things in different levels, but just like to also to do the things that I was taught to do, like to deal with thoughts, to deal with restlessness, whatever, to take. Also, I do have to take responsibility. At the same time, surrender, and also this humbleness, this knowing this, because I have been feeling so fragile and so vulnerable, both mentally and physically. So I just had to let go.
Yeah.
Because I could no longer fight it. vulnerability, just no longer fight it, no control.
Yeah.
This is how we are, whatever comes with it. And I have been like that for the last 3 weeks, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you are not more afraid. No.
I am. I have been the body, but I'm not afraid of something.
Yeah, right. Right.
I'm like, I'm also not shaky. I feel very balanced and also stable and grounded. At the same time, I'm still, somehow I can say I'm not myself, but maybe, yeah, as I said, the COVID did its work. I don't know.
Well, the COVID may have given the trigger, but after that, it was up to you whether you are panicking and getting more into fear, or whether you just learn to let the whole package go, at least to some extent, and then become aware it's that much easier to exist. If we don't kindle the fear, if we are not making it stronger and bigger with our mind.
Right. But yeah, but still, I am. Part of me wants to go back to fall asleep again.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't asleep so much, but still part of me. But I don't know how it is there any longer. I don't know how it is there any longer. So I'm like, now I'm like, first of all, I'm still expecting to be stronger physically, of course, emotionally also.
Yes.
Of course, I expect to be stronger, but I can't tell you that I'm so much at ease. It's like, of course, it's a process.
Yes.
It's both. Yeah, I'm holding both somehow.
Yes, good, great. We need not be afraid. We are living in a magic show to go through experiences, but nothing can really happen to what we are. On the superficial level, it can have these ups and downs, happy situations, very difficult situations, but nothing can happen to what we are. It's good to remember. That gives perspective. When the situation comes full of tensions, full of difficulties, and we remember, then it's not frightening. Okay, there is a challenge, we have to deal with it, and it makes your experience more expansive, profounder, if we do that. If we give way to fear, then the fear in itself and the stories that we are attaching on it and in our mind going round and round and thinking about it is like contracting the consciousness, contracting the experience, and it's painful because consciousness naturally wants to be expansive. So if we can shift away from that fear to just confidence, then let's see what happens. Then we are inviting that experience to expand. We're contributing what we can instead of creating obstacles.
Yeah. I remember also that you told me about holding on due to the fear of losing myself. You told me last week and maybe. So yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Mhm.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome. It's like grace is manifesting when you stop being afraid of the future. But as I have said it before, in other context, we cannot order divine grace. We cannot command it, we cannot control it, but we can consciously invite it. My life was not so free of fears all the time. And then before things started to become easier, I went through a period once more, like all these emotions had to manifest for one more time intensely and create shakings and create fear, create trouble, a bit to the extreme. Until I could see and understand, okay, but it's just emotions. We can like step by step out of it and watch them. The emotion comes as a peak and goes, but you are not affected by it really. The experience, of course, is affected, but not what you are. And to become aware of that, it's a manifestation of grace. But we can block that grace by insisting to hold on to our mental contradictions, to hold on that I'm fully right to be afraid because the situation is terrible, and then it becomes bigger and bigger. Or if we see also that mechanism of the mind and just let it go, don't feed it anymore. And as soon as we stop feeding it already, immediately the attention is again here and we become aware of that there is something that has absolutely not been affected by any of it. If we look back in our life, we may have gone through very difficult periods, but if we look back and remember well, then we can also see that core being of us has not been affected. It was there all the time. And it would have had many times the chance to manifest more clearly, more powerfully, except that we insisted on holding on to our tensions. Insisted that I have the right now to be miserable or to be afraid or to be like this or to be like that because look at the situation. If we clearly see that mechanism, then we are ready to let it go and just not do that anymore. I said it's an act of grace if we can eliminate this kind of troubles out of our life. We cannot do it directly, but what we can do is invite that grace invite it to happen. And for that, we have to think clearer, and understand by looking at what's going on, how we are acting, how we are feeling, how we are talking, thinking and talking. It makes a difference whether I'm opening up my heart to that expansiveness, or whether I keep on insisting, me, but look what is happening. I have all the right to suffer, to be bad, in a bad mood, to be not well, or to be afraid of the future. We need not do that anymore. And the aura and passing has quick mentioned, but sometimes it's like I have the desire to go back. That is the power of habit. For the mind, freedom is scary. The usual experience most of the time for most of the people is not all that fantastic. But then, as soon as that aspect of the personality is confronted with the possibility of letting go and be more expansive, then is that fear of losing myself. I cannot lose myself. I am what I am. You are what you are. You can't lose that. We can't lose that. But out of habit, these kind of feelings may come. And most of the time, they come to people, but without being aware of it, that these kind of emotions are there. And then the obstacles on our path may sometimes look unsurmountable. So it's important to see, okay, actually there is a fear of letting go, or even if I have let go of things, and already my life is more peaceful, more harmonious, the experience is more expansive, there may then suddenly come this nagging, nonsensical idea and feeling, oh, it's too much, I want to go back in my old, cozy, limited way of existing. But it's good to see that, and when we see that, we just don't take it serious. Don't give way to that. And then the initial scared part of a more expansive existence also lets go. And the fear goes, and it's like we can breathe better, let go, shedding a burden that we have been unnecessarily carrying. And this willingness to let go, to make that step, that is the invitation for grace to manifest. Anandamayi once said, grace is always there. It's like the rain. When we are a group of people standing in the rain is the same for everybody. Some may let that rain just flow off our body, try to avoid it, the rain of grace. Some may take a little vessel and fill the cup with grace. Somebody else may take a bigger vessel. It's still the same rain, but there, that flow of grace will manifest stronger. And what is it? That bigger vessel, that willingness not to hold on to our own little petty reactions all the time, to let them go and be open, innocent, like a baby. Some may take a huge vessel and huge amount of that grace manifest. And then jokingly, Ananda might added, but sometimes some may also stand there in the rain and hold their vessel upside down, and no rain will be collected. It's still the same rain. The grace is always there. These are metaphors indicating that we cannot control it, but we can contribute, we can open our heart, we can invite grace to happen. And to be capable of letting go the existential fears, all the fears that we are building up in our life, and just start to experience that sense of confidence, no matter what, doesn't matter. I need not worry. Somehow I'm being taken care of. And one day we are getting out of this magic show, getting out of this world. That's also nothing scary. We come here to learn, to grow, to expand, to outgrow. And then when we get out of it, then it's time for another chapter. Also that has not to be feared. That what you are cannot be destroyed, cannot be hurt. It's pure divine radiance. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to come in? You are welcome to come. We can connect what I said in the beginning. Now I started talking about Satsang, connecting with truth. That we are capable of connecting consciously with truth is also already a manifestation of grace. Even that we are attempting is already a manifestation of grace. And this comes together. If we are sincerely attempting, then first the fears may even come back stronger. On top of the existential material fears that may come to fear, but maybe I'm not good enough, I'm not going to get anywhere, I'm not spiritual qualified, and I'm wasting my life. But then if we see those, we can look at them and say, okay, I'm doing again the same thing that I did about whether in the future I will have what I need to live on this material level. I'm doing the same again on a spiritual level. And I need not do that anymore. Everybody is entitled, for everybody's true nature is pure divinity. It's our birthright to become aware of it, to live with it, to experience it, to unfold joyously in that. Satsang helps to open the heart. Satsang helps to invite that grace, that we can get rid of the fears, not suppress them, not be afraid that the fear comes back. They may come back. They will come back. For moments, it's a natural instinct that is planted, and sometimes it's very useful. If you just suddenly walk at an abyss, it's better that you have fear for a moment and stop. But the more that connection is there, the more that grace flows, the more you are aware there is that aspect of you that cannot be hurt. The more these emotions are not threatening. Then they come for a moment of fear may come, it's there, it goes, and it doesn't leave a trace, it doesn't hurt, there's nothing wrong with it. I've talked to people who are really, really afraid now what's going to happen in this world, in the nearer future. And it's possible, I don't know, it's possible that it's getting somewhat worse for some time. But there is also a very opposite movement there that is not so easily visible right now. That is building up and that will lead humanity out of the precarious situation where we are now and create a possibility of unfolding into a more beautiful and more harmonious society. It's good to be aware that there is something that cannot be heard. And the more people are aware of that, the more there is something beautiful radiating into the world, into the society, that makes it easier for that shift to happen. At the same time, we can be realist. There are very destructive forces very strongly manifesting. And the external situation may get a bit worse for some time. But if we are giving way to fear, then our life is going to be painful and we are inviting it more to happen. If we see the possibility, if we see a moment fear coming, like when we walk at an abyss, then we watch that fear, let it come, let it be there for a moment and let it go again. Becoming more and more aware, no matter what is happening. I can be heard. That which you are cannot be heard. We have a construction site nearby, so sometimes we'll have to accept that there is noise. Just now, I think something is being discharged from a truck. Right. For the time being, the worst is over. So it goes. Things come, they are there, they go. Everything. Let's open our heart to that grace, that we have that possibility to connect and be aware. And then we go fearlessly through our life, courageously, doing whatever needs to be done. I see somebody would like to come in. Video is on. Oh, hello, Guy.
Hi, Werner.
Did you on purpose come in?
Kind of, yeah. Yes.
Kind of. Okay. Since you are already here, you have to say something.
Yeah, I was enjoying the sounds. It sounded like the end of the world is already coming.
Yeah.
I was feeling like speaking about. In the beginning, I also wanted to share or speak about Shiva Shakti, whose presence I really enjoyed when I was in Tiruvannamalai.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't look at it like that. What stage people are in,
Yeah.
because actually there is no individual anywhere. So if we can feel this presence somewhere, it must be the same grace you're speaking of that is flowing there, and we can stay there as long as we feel something there. And I was a little bit sad because I was still planning to come visit her one more time maybe. But since I read it on Facebook, I kind of feel that presence, like it's always here, I guess, even without any relation to a teacher.
Right.
But I guess I wanted to, maybe you can say something about it. Feels like, and you spoke about satsang in the beginning, it's like creating some kind of circumstances or a space where it's more powerful or more easy to connect.
Right. Essentially, it remains always the same, but the intensity with which that truth is manifesting is changing from place to place, from moment to moment. And yes, of course, you can always be connected, independent of any teacher. In fact, you are always connected, independent of any teacher. But sometimes it may happen that you are together with a teacher or with a group of people, with a teacher or without a teacher alive, and there you feel, there is so much support there, it makes it easier. And now you said you felt a bit sad that you cannot go back to that same teacher because she's simply not more here. But if you had a strong experience in the past, sometimes it helps already just to remember that, to open up again and intensify in the now your connection. For that, such encounters may be very valuable, that even if you are farther away physically, or even if there was a teacher and now not more physically in the world, if you remember a very positive connection, a very positive experience, but not try to slip in the past and not try to slither into sadness. It's not more there, but okay, this was great, and that memory can help that you, wherever you are, you open up in the same way that you opened up there, and that same intensity suddenly may be experienced wherever you are. Nevertheless, if one feels drawn to sometimes go to a group, sometimes attend to a place where a teacher is and has the possibility and really feels in the heart there is a resonance, perfectly valid. Nothing wrong with taking all the helps that we are getting.
I was recently part of a group that was meeting here in the village where I live, and just talking, trying to connect, but with nobody really leading it. And sometimes it felt a bit, I mean, for me, it felt too often that there's no focus or no, very easily it gets distracted or into stories.
Right, right.
I think part of the help from a teacher or from a sacred place is this focus and something holding it.
Right, it's of
together.
course, it's very helpful. If there is somebody who is then just not wavering from the purpose why you come together and bring the attention back to that, or whether one then slowly disappears. I mean, in here it's happening a lot. People come here and then they meet accidentally or on purpose. They meet in tea shops or somewhere, and then it's those spiritual discussions. There is not much sincerity there of going deeper, but rather everybody wants to show off their knowledge. And of course, that is not very helpful. But if people sincerely meet just for the purpose of going deeper, and then there can be discussions and there can be different attitudes, but if it's with that sincerity of getting closer to truth, then something very magical happens, whether there is a teacher or not. But it's easier to get sidetracked if there is no teacher who is somehow guiding the whole thing. You're right. I mean, this is, one can very well just stay by oneself. Satsang, as I said, the highest form of satsang is to connect with yourself. And you can do that in your own room. If one feels the pull to go in groups or to go privately to a teacher or to be with a teacher in a group, whatever, if the pull is there, there's nothing wrong following that pull as long as we feel. It helps. But then we may go to groups and sometimes feel it's not really helping. Then we can also say, okay, it's not for me. Maybe I better stay alone at home. All right. Shall we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to say something? If we want, we can for a little more time. All right. Let's round this satsang up with the same thing that we have started and come back to all along today. Never be sad where you are, thinking I should be somewhere else. It would be better. Somehow the universe brings us at the right time to the right place. And we can always be in Satsang, learn to be in Satsang, no matter what is happening. And then when the opportunity is there that we can exchange ideas or just silently sit together, great, wonderful. But those exchanges, as we just said now with Guy, I mean, they can also become very intellectual and they can rather lead us away. If these exchanges are there with sincerity, it helps. But then the satsang is the connection with truth, with the essence, with that which you are. So my friends, I wish you to be always in satsang, no matter what is happening. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.